Yes.
Okay, thank you. So myself Rajeshri, the founder of Fantastics organization. As we all know, today we have gathered here to witness the webinar on paranormal research. So I'm very happy, and we have Siddharth and Meghna from IPS team over here. So before starting the webinar, let me tell you something about the Indian Paranormal Society, as if you don't already know. So Indian Paranormal Society, it was founded by Reverend Gaurav Tiwari sir in 2009. So their aim is to shun myths and superstitions by logical evaluation, critical thinking, and applying principles of forensic science. This group helped thousands of people and enthusiasts to get rid of their fear of unknown, as Reverend Tiwari sir always said that knowledge cancels fear. So, with this motto, we have Siddharth, who is a certified professional paranormal investigator with 11 years of experience in this field. His interest lies in documenting audio evidence, EVP, and analyzing it. He has written numerous blogs and articles on paranormal research. His work has appeared in national newspapers and digital magazines such as Mirror, New Indian Express, Dainik Bhaskar, Open the Magazine, Vice, Outlook India, and the Daily Pioneer. He has also appeared on various news shows hosted by channels like Aaj Tak, Z, and IBN 7. Additionally, he was featured in a short documentary series by the BBC also. He has been interviewed for radio shows on Radio City 91.1 and Radio Mirchi 93.5 Red FM. He has also shared his insights into this field on multiple podcasts and talk shows on YouTube. And we also have Meghna here. She is a certified professional paranormal investigator from the Indian Paranormal Society. She specializes in documenting photographic anomalies, and she has captured some of the best photographic evidence in this field. She's known for her unique techniques and quick thinking to gather evidence. She has been a paranormal researcher for the past 10 years. Her work has received appreciation from established magazines, leading newspapers, and digital platforms such as Mumbai Mirror, In Search of Smile, Kerosene Digital, Frontier India, The Swaddle, Twinkle Khanna shows like Twinkle Khanna shows, and she has also been featured in radio shows like Radio City 91.1 and Radio Mirchi 93.5. Additionally, she has made appearances on various podcast and YouTube interviews too. So, with this, you know who the speakers are for today's webinar and how much depth knowledge they have on this particular topic that we are going to witness today. And personally, me, I'm a great fan of Indian Paranormal Society. I have been following them since I don't know when I think since 4 years I have been following them, and I'm especially myself. I'm very eager for this particular webinar. So, handing over to you, Siddharth. Please continue.
Thank you so much, Rajeshri. Thank you so much. For you guys to have organized Fantastics basically to have organized this particular seminar. And firstly, thank you so much for all the people who are here. I know Saturday है लोगों का अपना plans होगा weekend plans, but you guys chose to come here, and I can see the number around I think approximately 46-47 guys of you. So I'm really happy कि आप लोग ने time निकाल के you all thought कि ये अच्छा investment होगा आपका time का. So thank you so much, guys. And I hope by the end of the webinar, you guys get to learn something about the field, and also it increases your curiosity, right? कि आप लोग और curious रहोगे जानने के लिए कि ये field में क्या है and all of that. ठीक है? So I also have Meghna with me. So Meghna, would you like to say something?
Thank you so much for having us here, guys. Thank you so much for this webinar that we are having. Like Siddharth said, I hope after this you all go out you all leave this webinar with more information and more knowledge about how to work, how this field works, and how we as a team work in this field.
Yes. Okay, so I think we should start, right, Meghna? We can start with our presentation.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay,
Please.
sure. Let me share the screen. Okay, could you guys just confirm if you are able to see my screen? So I'm presenting a short. So we have a short presentation here. Okay, this is just for reference, so that you guys know हम लोग जो भी चीज बात कर रहे हैं आप उसको स्क्रीन पे देख पाओगे. It will help you understand where we come from, what are the things that we have experienced in this field, and all of that. ठीक है, is everybody comfortable with me speaking in English? सबको इंग्लिश समझ में आता है? Or do you all want me to only speak in Hindi या ऐसे कुछ? English is okay, right? English and Hindi both mix. ठीक है. English, okay. Okay guys, so this is our logo. ये हम लोग का टीम का जो लोगो है. This was again founded by Reverend Gaurav Tiwari, who is the founder back in 2009. ठीक है, यहाँ पे बहुत जन को ऐसा लगता है when they see our logo they feel ये Illuminati का साइन है. ठीक है, how many of you all agree this looks like Illuminati? ऐसा ट्रायंगल और आर्क और वो सब. Oh my God, Suryan says he agrees. Okay. ठीक है, no. Okay, so just to spoiler alert, this is not Illuminati. ये कोई शैतान का साइन ये सब नहीं है. ठीक है, basically the eye that you see here, okay, that is called as the eye of consciousness. ठीक है, eye of consciousness basically is when you observe the nature around you. जब आप चीजों को देखते हो, आप चीजों को समझते हो, it is basically just to say that we are aware about what is happening in our surrounding. ठीक है, yes, somebody says it looks like the eye of Horus. Okay, but the logic here was that we wanted to show that if you are aware about things happening in your surroundings, आप बहुत सारी चीजें सीख सकते हो, बहुत सारी चीजें समझ सकते हो. So that was the entire motive for why we use this particular symbol. Okay. Okay, let me move on. This is Reverend Gaurav Tiwari, for anyone who doesn't know. Okay, he was basically the founder of Indian Paranormal Society. So me and Meghna got the opportunity to directly work with him, to understand things directly from him, and we are very lucky to have met him and worked with him. So yeah, this was his kind of motto in life. When it comes to paranormal, he used to always say that जहाँ भी मुझे जितना भी resistance आए from the society or from whatever people that are around him, he always used to say his only mantra is to focus on whatever he wants to do. Right, and I think we all of us should kind of take this advice so that we become more successful in life. Right? Achha, now before I move on to the main topic of paranormal, how many of you all truly believe कि ऐसा कुछ हो सकता है? जैसे हम लोग जब भूत बोलते हैं, आत्मा की बात करते हैं, how many of you all actually think that these things exist? मैं मूवीज की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ, आई एम सेइंग कि रियल लाइफ में ये सब चीजें होती है. ओके, आई थिंक आई कैन सी 4 or 5 हैंड्स बीइंग रेज्ड. ठीक है, 50 में से 4 लोग. ओके, अच्छा नहीं, और भी लोग कमेंट्स में लिख रहे हैं. वाओ. ओके, सो आई थिंक a lot of you, I think a majority of you believe. ठीक है, नाउ यू ऑल कैन, आप लोग हाथ नीचे कर सकते हो. So that हाँ, cool. जितने लोगों ने हाथ ऊपर किया, राइट, द नंबर ऑफ ऑल द पीपल हु रेज देयर हैंड्स हियर, आई आल्सो वांट टू नो आप लोग में से कितने लोगों ने एक्सपीरियंस किया. हैव यू ऑल एक्सपीरियंस्ड एनी पैरानॉर्मल इवेंट? एक होता है कि चलो मैं मानता हूं बिकॉज हो सकता है मेरे दादी ने मुझे कोई कहानी बताई हो कि मेरे घर के पीछे एक कुआं था, उस कुएं में एक आत्मा रहती थी. राइट, वी हैव ऑल काइंड ऑफ got to learn about this field from all these stories, right? या फिर एक हो सकता है कि हाँ मैंने फर्स्ट हैंड एक्सपीरियंस किया हो, मेरे साथ कुछ ऐसा चीज हुई हो इसलिए मैं उस चीज पे मानता हूँ. राइट, एक्सपीरियंस हुआ है. ओके, 3-4 times. कुलदीप has experienced it 3-4 times. Yes, but not actually, that was not paranormal, that was just my hallucination. Okay, wow. Anubhav knows the difference between hallucinations and actually experiencing paranormal. ठीक है, I experienced but I don't believe. Fair enough. Sakshi says she does not believe. Okay, ठीक है. So I can kind of figure out that a lot of people believe, like there are a percentage of people who believe but who don't have experience, and which is okay. आप मान सकते हो इस फील्ड पे बिना एक्सपीरियंस के, विच इज स्टिल ओके. कुछ लोग हैं जिन्होंने एक्सपीरियंस किया इसलिए वो लोग मानते हैं, ओके. एंड देन देयर आर पीपल हु डोंट बिलीव. ठीक है, आप लोग में से हो सकता है बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग हो जो ये फील्ड पे नहीं मानते, बट आउट ऑफ क्यूरियोसिटी आप आके ये सेशन अटेंड करो, विच इज अगेन फेयर इनफ. एटलीस्ट आप लोग ने एक कदम आगे बढ़ाया ये फील्ड को समझने के लिए, विच इज अ पॉजिटिव इन इटसेल्फ. ठीक है, गुड. सो आई जस्ट वांटेड टू नो हु द ऑडियंस इज. आप लोग में से कितने लोग मानते हो, कितने लोग नहीं मानते हो, सो दैट आई नो कि अभी मैं जब भी कुछ चीज प्रेजेंट करूंगा ये चीज ध्यान में रख के करूंगा कि आप लोग को क्या चीज समझ में आनी चाहिए एंड व्हाट आर द थिंग्स दैट आई कैन एक्चुअली स्किप, जो जरूरी नहीं है कि हम इस पे ज्यादा एक्सप्लेन करें. ठीक है गाइस, सो लेट मी मूव ऑन टू द मेन कंटेंट दैट वी हैव. ठीक है, जो मेन टॉपिक है. सो माय पार्ट हियर विल बी टू गिव यू अ लिटिल बिट रेफरेंस बिहाइंड कि ये सब शुरू कैसे हुआ, what is the science behind the field of paranormal, and then Meghna will actually get into the part which you all are most interested कि रियल लाइफ में ऐसा होता है क्या, या हमारे साथ रियल लाइफ में क्या हुआ है. तो शी विल शेयर वन पर्टिकुलर इंसिडेंट दैट हैपेंड विद अस और वन पर्टिकुलर एक्सपीरियंस, एंड वी आल्सो हैव सम सरप्राइज एट द एंड ऑफ द सेशन. जो लोग आप लोग बार बार हम लोग को लिखते रहते हो कि भूत देखना है, तो वो हम लोग आपको हो सकता है हम लोग आपको दिखाए. डोंट नो इफ यू गाइस विल सी और नॉट, बट यस वी विल ट्राई आवर बेस्ट. ठीक है, कैन वी स्टार्ट? इज एवरीबॉडी रेडी? एनीबॉडी स्कैर्ड हियर? किसी को डर लग रहा है अभी से? सुहानी को लग रहा है? नो, ओके, ठीक है, कूल. सो नाउ द पर्सन दैट यू सी ऑन द स्क्रीन, राइट, आप जो अभी स्क्रीन पे जिनको देख रहे हो, ऑब्वियसली यू नो ही इज समवन हु इज वेरी वेरी ओल्ड. ठीक है, अभी तो ये जिंदा नहीं है. इनका नाम है चार्ल्स फोर्ड. ओके, चार्ल्स फोर्ड, बेसिकली ही इज नॉट द फोर्ड मोटर्स का ओनर. चार्ल्स फोर्ट, FORT. सो ही इज बेसिकली ही यूज्ड टू बी एन अमेरिकन ऑथर. ठीक है, एंड जब वो अपने किताब लिखते थे ही यूज्ड टू मेंशन और राइट अ लॉट अबाउट पैरानॉर्मल इवेंट्स. ठीक है, यूएस में है. सो ही यूज्ड टू राइट अ लॉट अबाउट पैरानॉर्मल इवेंट्स बिकॉज ही यूज्ड टू हियर पीपल talk about these things, but he didn't know कि ये सच है या नहीं. But इन्होंने जब 1800s में की बात कर रहा हूँ मैं, right, in the 18th century he used to write a lot about paranormal events. So उस time पे he spoke about objects moving या people experiencing shadow people. अगर आपने सुना होगा कि आपको घर में ऐसे लगेगा कि कोई shadow walk कर रहा है, या hearing footsteps. So all these things he used to write in his books which were very very popular back then. सो अर्ली 1800 में कहीं ना कहीं हम लोग बोल सकते हैं कि ये वेस्ट में, आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट इंडिया, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट द वेस्ट. सो वहां से ये ज्यादा करके कॉन्सेप्ट पॉपुलर हुआ अबाउट द मॉडर्न डे पैरानॉर्मल जो हम लोग देखते हैं, राइट. इंडिया में ऑफ कोर्स आई थिंक फ्रॉम सेंचुरीज अगो वी हैव हैड दिस, घर पे हम लोग को ऐसा पूजा करना चाहिए, ऑल दैट ट्रेडिशंस वर ऑलवेज देयर इन इंडिया. बट जो आज हम मूवीज में देखते हैं, राइट, अबाउट गोस्ट एंड ऑल, दैट वाज ऑल पॉपुलर ज्यादा करके फ्रॉम द वेस्ट. ठीक है, सो चार्ल्स फोर्ट वाज समवन हु वाज रिस्पांसिबल. इसको सिर्फ याद रखो. ठीक है, नाउ कमिंग टू द साइंस, राइट. सो व्हेन वी स्पीक अबाउट पैरानॉर्मल इवेंट्स, ठीक है, अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल से दिस इज ऑल बिकॉज ऑफ योर स्पिरिट. जो आपके अंदर एक स्पिरिट है, या जो भी बाहर आप एनर्जीज बोलते हो, तो ये सारी चीजों के पीछे व्हेन अ लॉट ऑफ पैरानॉर्मल रिसर्चर्स वर थिंकिंग कि इसके पीछे क्या लॉजिक हो सकता है, व्हाट कुड बी द एक्सप्लेनेशन बिहाइंड दोज इवेंट्स. सो kind of they took reference from this particular experience. Okay, what was this particular experiment? Anybody is aware about the dual slit theory? किसी को पता है ये क्या experiment था? No? Oh, I can see mixed reactions. No, yes. ठीक है, so basically there was this particular British polymath. Polymath is basically someone who's an expert in multiple fields. So उनका नाम था थॉमस यंग, right. So Thomas Young was the person who kind of also came up with the word energy. So ये जो हम बोलते हैं ना आज के टाइम में energy, everything is energy, तो ये जो energy term है ये उनका term था. उन्होंने 19th century में sorry, उस टाइम पे he had come up with this particular theory, and he had done this experiment to show that a particular atom या particular molecule shows duality. Yes, Kuldeep says Young's dual slit experiment. So what he was experimenting was that when you expose light to a particular slit या to a particular obstacle, it will show you two natures. उसको duality बोलते हैं. तो एक है उसका पार्टिकल फॉर्मेट और एक है उसका वेव फॉर्मेट, ये वो बता रहा था, राइट. बट आज के टाइम पे लोग क्या मानने लगे, मतलब ओवर द इयर्स researchers started saying anyways, as a human, probably your body is also made up of a lot of atoms, particles, molecules, whatever you call it, right? And if this particular light shows that particular behavior, could it be possible that हम लोग का जो body है, right, the human body, is a possibility that we may exist in a form of particle which is right now that you see me, and after we die probably a wave format can also exist. ये वो मानते थे. I'm not saying this, I'm talking about what researchers over the years have developed. So which is why they took dual slit theory as one of the references for paranormal. ठीक है. इसके अगर इसको आपको और डीप में समझना है तो ऑफ कोर्स आप गूगल पे यू कैन रीड, बट आई एम जस्ट सेइंग हाउ दिस पर्टिकुलर एक्सपेरिमेंट इज बीइंग यूज्ड as a reference for modern day paranormal research. Okay, guys, if you all have any doubts or anything, I'll answer it at the end once Meghna is done. Okay, so that we don't disturb the flow. Okay, उसके अलावा ये काफी फेमस कोट है एल्बर्ट आइंस्टाइन का, where he kind of spoke about energy being invincible, जहाँ पे आप एक एनर्जी को किसी भी तरह का डिस्ट्रॉय नहीं कर सकते, right? So he used to say energy cannot be created, destroyed. It is just like जो टोटल एनर्जी अपने यूनिवर्स में प्रेजेंट है वो उतने में ही एग्जिस्ट करेगा. सो बेसिकली इफ आई एम एन एनर्जी, आई कैन नॉट बी डिस्ट्रॉयड, आई विल बी एग्जिस्टिंग समवेयर इन द यूनिवर्स. ठीक है, ये भी एक रेफरेंस लिया था. दिस वाज आल्सो कंसीडर्ड एज एन रेफरेंस फॉर या बाय पैरानॉर्मल रिसर्चर्स व्हेन दे स्पीक अबाउट हाउ डू वी सर्वाइव आफ्टर डेथ एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट. सो उसमें ये एनर्जी का एक पर्टिकुलर रेफरेंस जो था दैट वाज टेकन फ्रॉम एल्बर्ट आइंस्टाइन. ठीक है, उसके अलावा यस देयर हैव बीन नोटेबल साइंटिस्ट्स. ठीक है, एवरीबडी नोज थॉमस एडिसन, पता है सबको थॉमस एडिसन, राइट? ही वाज द इन्वेंटर ऑफ व्हाट, एनी आइडिया व्हाट डिड ही इन्वेंट? पढ़ा है साइंस में, स्कूल में ध्यान दिया था आप लोग ने? लाइट बल्ब, यस, करेक्ट. So he has invented a lot of things, but one of his most popular invention is the light bulb. ठीक है, so ऐसे माना जाता है, right? There were a few people who started speaking about how he was experimenting on something very very secret. बहुत एक secret चीज पे वो काम कर रहा था, and that secret was nothing but a device that can be used to communicate with our past ones. जो हम लोग के जो हम लोग के फैमिली के कोई सपोज किसी का डेथ हो गया, अगर मुझे उनसे बात करनी है, right? तो he was believed to have been working on this. Now there is no hardcore evidence, but yes, there are a few clips and articles that I found on the internet जो मैं आपके सामने रख रहा हूँ. ठीक है, so he believed, or he was believed to kind of create like a small device, almost like the ones that we have here, called ghost box. अपने ghost box अगर आप बहुत ज्यादा YouTube पे अगर आप देखते हो तो वहाँ पे they use something called as a ghost box. तो वैसे ही कुछ ऐसा मानते कि वो अपने in his free time he was researching on this particular concept. ठीक है, अभी इनके अलावा there was one more individual who was doing that. Everybody knows who this is? Okay, I think somebody mic is on. Aurobindo, can you just mute for? Oh, ठीक. Yes, so he's Mr. Nikola Tesla. ठीक है, yes, Tesla. So he was also believed to have been working on this particular thing. Now, if you all know, the history between Edison and Mr. Tesla, both of them were known to be rivals. ठीक है, because Tesla का ये मानना था कि जो चीजें मैं जिस चीज पे काम कर रहा हूँ वो एडिसन अपना खुद का बोल के बेच रहा है, या एडिसन का मानना ये था whatever I am working on, Tesla always copies me and all of that. ठीक है, so again not to say that they were both wrong or right or anything, but I'm just letting you know. ठीक है, कि निकोला टेस्ला का भी अपना एक एक्सपेरिमेंट था जहाँ पे he was kind of working on radio transistors. If you all know, he was the inventor of the modern day जो रेडियो अपने पास है वो निकोला टेस्ला का ही इन्वेंशन है. So when he was working on a transistor, he was kind of setting some kind of frequency in it. Now he was obviously the first one to have come up with the transistor का जो लॉजिक है वो उनका था. उसके पहले there were no radio towers or anything, right? But you know what the surprising thing was, कि उनका एक बार जब एक्सपेरिमेंट पूरा हुआ, okay, when he kind of created this entire radio transistor and he was fine tuning it, वो थोड़ा उसको frequency वगैरह try कर रहे थे. That time he claims to have heard voices of someone, but nobody knows कौन थे वो, because उसके पहले there was no रेडियो फ्रीक्वेंसी या रेडियो टावर्स दैट आज के टाइम पे आपको हर जगह रेडियो टावर दिखेगा. तो आज के टाइम पे अगर आपके गोस्ट बॉक्स में कोई नॉइज या कोई वॉइस आ रहा है तो इट कैन बी दैट कोई रैंडमली किसी रेडियो सिग्नल पे आपने चैनल किया हो, बट इनके साथ वो होना वाज क्वाइट सरप्राइजिंग फॉर हिम. सो ऐसे कुछ कुछ कहीं पे आपको डिस्क्रिप्शन मिलेगा अबाउट हाउ निकोला टेस्ला क्लेम्स टू हैव हर्ड अबाउट दीज एनॉमलस वॉइसेस, and he was the inventor of the radio box आज के टाइम पे जो हम लोग यूज करते हैं. ठीक है, सो अगेन अ वेरी नोटेबल रिसर्चर हु हैज वर्कड ऑन दिस. ठीक है, सो दो अगर आपको नाम याद रखने, यस, वन वाज एडिसन, वन वाज टेस्ला. इसके अलावा ऐसा बोलते इवन आइंस्टाइन वाज इंटरेस्टेड, बट उसका मुझे आई डिडंट फाइंड एनी प्रूफ कि ऐसा हो सकता है. ठीक है, बट हैविंग सेड ऑल ऑफ दिस, इतना मैंने आपको भी तो बता दिया कि ये सब चीजें है, राइट. आई वी स्पोक अबाउट ड्यूअल स्लिट थियरी, आई टोल्ड यू अबाउट एनर्जी, ऐसे और भी आपको बहुत सारी थियरीज मिलेंगी. ठीक है, बट देयर इज आल्सो अ फैलिसी. फैलिसी का ये मतलब है कि एक तरह से बोल लो कि खुद को कॉन्ट्रडिक्ट करने वाली चीज. ठीक है, पैरानॉर्मल में. तो आज के टाइम पे ऐसा क्यों है कि पैरानॉर्मल रिसर्च इज नॉट कंसिडर्ड एज अ प्रॉपर फील्ड इन साइंस, राइट. इवन दो वी से हाँ हम लोग वी यूज साइंटिफिक टेक्निक्स, आपने सुना होगा हम लोग एज आईपीएस वी ऑलवेज कीप सेइंग दैट वी यूज साइंटिफिक टेक्निक्स, वी हैव इक्विपमेंट्स, हम लोग फोटो निकालते हैं, ये सब हम लोग करते हैं, राइट. बट स्टिल दिस फील्ड कैन नॉट बी कंसिडर्ड एज साइंस एज ऑफ टुडे. इज व्हाई? बिकॉज वी डोंट हैव एनी स्पेसिफिक थियरीज, राइट. मैंने जितना भी थियरीज आपको अब तक बताया वो किसी और का था, किसी और रिसर्चर ने जो जो चीजें फाइंड की उसको हम लोग एज अ रेफरेंस यूज करते हैं. देयर आर नो टेक्स्ट बुक डेफिनेशंस इन पैरानॉर्मल. मतलब बहुत सारे ऐसी चीजें जो ओपन एंडेड है, जिनको अगर मैं आपको बोलूंगा, अगर आप मानते हो तो आप मानोगे, इफ यू डोंट बिलीव यू विल से आई डोंट वांट टू बिलीव इन इट, व्हिच इज ओके. ठीक है, सो देयर इज नो टेक्स्ट बुक, देयर आर नो थियरीज, देयर आर नो रिसर्च एक्सपेरिमेंट्स डन specifically to prove the field of paranormal, which is why yes, Rajeshri says pseudoscience. So this is one field. इसके अलावा अगर आप एस्ट्रोलॉजी बोलो, ऐसे जो अल्टरनेट वाले फील्ड्स है जिनके पास अपने खुद के बहुत ज्यादा थियरीज या कुछ नहीं है, तो उसको पीपल टैग एज सूडोसाइंस. ठीक है, इसीलिए ये फील्ड का अगर मुझे कोई पूछता है, राइट, पीपल कम टू अस एंड आस्क अस, कैन वी मेक अ करियर आउट ऑफ दिस इन इंडिया, कैन वी कैन वी बी अ फुल टाइम रिसर्चर. आई ऑलवेज से कि बहुत डिफिकल्ट है आपके लिए अगर आप सोचोगे तो भी, बट बिकॉज देयर इज नो, बिकॉज दिस इज नॉट लाइक अ जॉब, दिस इज नॉट लाइक अ फुल टाइम जॉब जहाँ आपको सैलरी मिलेगा, जहाँ इट इज नॉट लाइक अ 9 to 5 जॉब, राइट. इवन इफ यू सी अ फ्यू रिसर्चर्स हु आर सक्सेसफुल आज के टाइम पे, दैट इज प्योरली बिकॉज ऑफ सोशल मीडिया और बिकॉज दे हैव गॉट मीडिया शोज एंड मीडिया प्रोजेक्ट्स. तो आप सक्सेसफुल बन सकते हो. लेकिन अगर आप ऐसे बोलोगे कि यू वांट टू बी अ फुल टाइम रिसर्चर, देन देयर इज अ बिग चैलेंज, बिकॉज आपको यू विल हैव नो वे ऑफ अर्निंग एज सच. ठीक है, तो ये कुछ उसके फैलिसी है. इसके अलावा हाँ, इसका अपना खुद का कोई साइंस नहीं है. देयर इज नो साइंस बिहाइंड पैरानॉर्मल इन्वेस्टिगेशन एज सच. यू कैन ऑलवेज ड्रॉ कंक्लूजन्स फ्रॉम अदर एक्सपेरिमेंट्स, बट you cannot say that in itself paranormal is like a separate field. Obviously there is, but these are some fallacies that are there कि logically. one more thing is you cannot अगर मैंने एक जगह पे एक पर्टिकुलर तरह का एविडेंस मैंने कैप्चर किया, अगर मैं दोबारा उस जगह पे जाऊंगा, चांसेस आर वेरी लेस कि मुझे वही एविडेंस मिले. ठीक है, सो यू कैन नॉट रेप्लिकेट evidences, you cannot replicate experimentations that happen in this field, because this is like a one time thing. The entire logic behind paranormal is that there is no logic as such, right, that there is no explanation as such. So these are I think some of the fallacies, yeah, these are some of the contradictory things that are there in the field, which is why people don't take this field as seriously as they should ideally. Okay, Ritika says if scientists can earn money. Okay, I'll come to this later, Ritika. I'll answer this later on why can people not earn in this field. Okay, but okay, so that was it from my end, where I tried to explain or I tried to put some logic in the paranormal field. But again, my end conclusion was that it's all a fallacy. But okay, I'll give it on to Meghna right now. I'll pass on the mic to Meghna, if I may say so that she can share a little about our experience and kind of maybe वहां से आप लोग को थोड़ा बहुत लॉजिक समझेगा कि हम लोग क्यों क्या बोलते हैं. ठीक है, ओवर टू यू मीना.
Thank you so much, Siddharth. All right, so guys, like Siddharth spoke to you and told you about the beginnings of the paranormal field and how it all started, how some some of the scientists and researchers who were trying to do other research ended up with using that same research to identify the paranormal or to investigate. So a lot of even the equipment that Siddharth spoke to you about, there is no such particular equipment specified or specific to the paranormal field. Whatever equipment is used, it's either they are tweaked to so that we can use it in our investigations. They are mostly used for industrial purposes. For instance, an EMF meter is to use to check the magnetic field, or the thermal camera is used to check heat signatures. Now, when we speak about the paranormal, a lot of times when we go for investigations, our clients always ask us to tell them what is the process, how do we do it, what is the go ahead, or how do we go about doing investigation. It is important to explain to the client so that they understand what we do and how we do an investigation. So the process is not very tedious or any such, but it requires a lot of work from an investigator's perspective and point of view as well. Uh, Consider this like अगर आप we as Indian Paranormal Society, we do a thorough investigation. We speak to the client. It's like now, if you consider this as, have you seen, if suppose there is a murder taken place somewhere, and the cops are called in, right? The forensic team is called in, the photographers, the experts are called in, right? If you've seen CSI or NCIS, you'll know how that whole thing goes. So the same way, when the cops go to a murder scene or a crime scene, they ask people questions, right? The same way we do our investigations. We talk to the client, we ask the client questions on what are they experiencing, when did this start, how did it start, what is going on in the family, who is getting affected the most, where are all the hotspots of where the activities taking place the most. We try and also find out um, when did this all start, what is the history of the place, what is the history of the client, uh, and try and conform, try and come to uh, some kind of a conclusion as to how did this all begin and why is the client getting affected all of a sudden. If the client says, oh no, it's just very recent, so we need to ask the client, go more in depth and asking questions as to when did this, what is going on in the client's life that triggered something, this activity. So very important to get in touch with the client. Now, the client here means the person who is being affected by the activity the most. Then we speak to the client's family and ask the questions like, are they also experiencing similar things like what the client is? And get their experiences and get to understand what they are thinking, what is happening, their perspective. It is important to do all this so that we can base our investigation and ask questions to the entity basis on what the client is telling us. Yeah, so an interview with the client and ask. We have a set of questions that we ask, and that's how we do it. That's the first phase of our investigation. Now on to the next phase. Sit. Yeah. Once we get a history and the background of the from the client and the family or the neighbors or so on and so forth, then we go in for a preliminary investigation. A preliminary investigation is just like a basic investigation where we just go and take a look at all the hotspots, do a basic EMF reading just to get a base, of what kind of temperature, what kind of magnetic field are we experiencing there. Because sometimes if the magnetic field is very high in a particular area, there's a possibility that the client may be experiencing all these activities because of that high magnetic field. Uh, and in the preliminary investigation, we will do a very short investigation, or do a little bit of EVP session, which is an electronic voice phenomenon. EVP session is we throw out questions to the entity and hope to get some kind of an intelligent response from them. Uh, we collect this, we go back to our base and we go through whatever evidence we have captured from the preliminary investigation. After that, we go on to the next step, which is a full fledged investigation, which is phase 3 of our investigation, the main investigation. I'm sorry, if you want, you can put on the subtitles. Uh, the main investigation is basically when we as a team go to the client's place and conduct a full-fledged investigation, which means we will set up our cameras, we will set up all our equipment, and we will split ourselves into groups, and we'll go investigate each and every part of the location. Uh, in the main investigation, most of the time, we have we usually spend the entire night at a particular location to get evidence because most often they're not. I mean, it doesn't happen as soon as you go to a location, you start getting uh, activity and investigation, and you start experiencing things. Sometimes it takes a while for the activity to come forth. Sometimes the whole night goes by and we don't get any kind of activity, or we don't experience anything of any kind like what the client claims. Having said that, that does not mean that that place is not active. It's just that on that particular night we didn't capture any kind of evidence. So our main investigation, on the day that we go for our main investigation, we once again sit with the client and talk to the client and get more information from them. A lot of times people come to us and say, "Well, why do you have to do so much of research?" It is important to do research because if you don't know the history, if you don't know what is going on, you will not be able to conduct your investigation properly. So this is the reason why it is very important to get all the information, as much as information as possible from the client. Also, in between our investigation, in between and the night that we're doing a main investigation, we sit. Sometimes we just take a break and we sit with the client once again and ask them what are they expecting out of this investigation or what is going on in their minds. Get more information so that we can, if we have to change the way we ask questions to the entity, we can do so. Yeah. So uh, the main investigation that we do can last anything between from 8 hours to 12 hours. That's the entire night. And we have received a lot of actually amazing evidence when we have conducted full-fledged investigations. For instance, if this picture that you see right now in front of you, this was one of the cases in Mumbai suburbs where we investigated, where the client was claiming that the baby in the house was getting scratched and physically hurt by some entity. So we went there and we spoke to the client, and as per whatever the client information they gave us, we started conducting our investigations. We did receive a few information, but it was very vague. We did not quite understand what was going on. Then one of our other team members, they sat with the client and spoke to the client, and that's when we figured out what the main issue was with what was going on there. So during this investigation, it turned out that one of the relatives of the client was the one who was uh, who was the actual entity worrying the child in that particular location. So we focused our attention to that particular entity and started asking questions to that entity as to why is that person doing that particular entity is harming the child. So yeah, that's the phase three of our investigation. The next phase is evidence analysis. Once we finish all our investigation, we collect all the footage, whether it's audio, whether it's video, whether it's pictures. We store it in our drives and we sit and analyze the next day or maybe the day after. We conduct an investigation and we do an analysis. The analysis is another, because of it's a full night investigation, the footage is a lot of footage to investigate. So it takes time for us to sit and analyze each and every aspect of the investigation. So we go through all our cameras, we go through all the pictures, we go through all the audio that we had recorded from the night of the investigation. And we go through second by second. There is no way that you can miss out or not pay attention to what you are seeing or hearing or watching when in the during the evidence analysis, because you may just miss out on something. So it is a very tedious task, but it has to be done because you need to give answers to the client. Now, this evidence analysis can take, again, it could be the full day or it could go over 2 days, 3 days, depending on how you plan it out for yourself. Uh, when you, when we, if there is any evidence that we have found, or we capture anything on our cameras, we will collect all that evidence and we will discuss it amongst the entire team first before presenting it to the client. Because we also need to make sure that we've actually captured something, or is it just like maybe a camera glitch or an outside interference or some outside noise and things like that before we go ahead and present it to the client. Once we eliminate all the possibilities of not being paranormal or debunking whatever we have captured, then whatever is remaining, that's when we collect everything and go and present it to the client. Whether we have captured anything or not, we will still go ahead and present what we have to the client, explaining to them what uh, what it is that we captured and what will be the next step for them. So, in this particular case that we had gone to, where the entity turned out to be a relative of the client, in this particular case, we told the client what needs to be done. A little background was that the client had actually promised the entity something which the client did not fulfill. So we had to tell the client that, look, you need to fulfill this promise that you made with the entity and to give it some peace. Okay. So the next phase is cleansing, which is an optional thing. Now, depending on what the client wants, if the client is okay with the activity and they're okay, let it be, we'll live with it and all. But if the client wants a cleansing, we can provide them an option for cleansing as well. Now, when we perform cleansing, we don't use any but one particular religious provocation. Here we can, cleansing can be done in a lot of ways. You can use incense, you can use singing bowls, you can use bells, you can just chant things, different ways of cleansing, different religious usage that you can do. So yes, cleansing is very optional from our part. It's only if the client wants it that we do a cleansing. Sorry guys, just give me 1 second. 1 second. Huh? Yeah. So, sorry, like I was saying, so now if you want a cleansing to be performed in your house, or if the client wants a cleansing to be performed, they can approach their own religious personnel. Yeah. Whoever, whatever religion they believe in, they can approach those people and get them to do a cleansing on the house. Okay. Yeah. That's the next phase. Said anything else? Another phase? Yeah. Okay. Phase six that we do is client counseling. It's very important as investigators. We also have to act like counselors for towards our clients. Sometimes, um, a lot of times when clients come to us with whatever they are experiencing in the house, before we could jump to any conclusion whether it is paranormal, that if it is paranormal, it is important to understand the client's mindset as well. So here, that's where we come into and speak to our clients and tell them, asking again, interviewing them, asking them questions, and then determining whether it is paranormal or whether it is just the client's they're just hallucinating, or whether it's just in their minds that whatever is happening here with them. Sometimes the client could be undergoing through some kind of medical condition which is triggering all these things with the client. Sometimes the client could be having some psychological disorder or some kind of psychological syndrome that could be that could be causing this for them to experience this kind of activity. So it's very important to speak to the client, to counsel the client before and after. After, when we counsel the client, is when we tell the client what needs to be done next. How should they be living so that this activity, whatever's happening there, is not affecting them or is not harming them in any way. So that's how we would help the client in telling them what needs to be done next. At the end of it, it is the client's decision what they want to do, whether they want to stay there, whether they don't want to stay there, whether they want to do a cleansing or not cleansing. We don't force that on a client at all. And most often than not, uh, our services we offer our clients free of charge. So very rarely we leave it on the clients if they want to pay us or not. If the clients are willing to pay us whatever minimum, we are happy to take that. But most of the time, we are doing our investigations free of charge to the client, because we understand that they are going through what's happening in their house, or what is happening with them, how all this is affecting them. Yeah. So that's what it is. Anything else after this? Yeah, so the case discussion, before a case, when we decide to take a case, right, before going to the client's place for an investigation or speaking to the client, we sit with the team and we speak to the entire team and ask them uh, what do they think about the particular case that we have received. We present whatever the client has informed us and told us in front of the team, and thereafter we will just discuss and see what how to go about the investigation, what needs to be done when we go for this investigation, who is going to do what job at a particular investigation. So all the team members in the group has would be given for any investigation a particular job. Say for instance, if it's Siddharth will be in charge of speaking or interviewing with the client. Whether it is Rick, maybe he'll be in charge of setting up the equipment, or whether it is me. Maybe I'll be in charge in checking to see whether all the equipment is working, whether we have enough backup with us. So that's how we divide the work, which makes it easier for us to uh, get ready for the investigation and go to the location and perform the investigation as well. So that all happens when we sit in a meeting with as a team and we discuss the case with us. Yeah. What's the next one?
So here I also wanted to share like this from where we kind of got this photo, right? So ये जो आप photo देख रहे हो सामने, this was from an actual investigation that we did in Mumbai. ठीक है, so Mumbai में there is this place called Charkov which is near Kandivali. I don't know how many of y'all are here from Mumbai, but हमारा जो major experiences रहे हैं investigation के वो मुंबई से ही रहे because we are based out of Mumbai. So हम लोग ज्यादा करके मुंबई में ही investigate करते. And just for your information, right? आप लोग में से बहुत लोगों को लगता होगा कि जहाँ पे अक्सर लोगों की मौत होती है या जहाँ पे उनको जलाया जाता है, दफनाया जाता है, जो जो सेमेट्रीज है या जो स्मशान भूमि है, तो वहां पे आपको काफी सारे एविडेंस मिलेंगे. हालांकि हमारे एक्सपीरियंस के हिसाब से ये चीज हुई नहीं है, राइट? ऐसा होता नहीं है क्योंकि वी हैव गॉट अ लॉट ऑफ एक्सपीरियंसेस इन रेसिडेंशियल हाउसहोल्ड्स ओनली. Now I don't know why do some residences have a lot of energy in them या जो भी चीजें होती है, but yes, I can say for a fact that this entire thing that Hollywood and Bollywood has created in your brain कि रात को अकेले ग्रेवयार्ड में नहीं जाना चाहिए, ये वो so वो सारी जो चीजें हैं that is basically for an effect. I think a lot of household जो residential spaces है, those are more haunted than any graveyard in the world. I feel that is my opinion. I don't know whether I'm 100% right or wrong, but at least मैं आपको मेरे जो 11 साल का experience रहा है, even I think Meghna can kind of highlight more on this. But yes, we have had experiences where we have seen residential locations being more haunted than any graveyard or cemetery. ठीक है, so yes, like Lokesh said, a little more context. So ये जो आप कमरा देख रहे हो, हमने जिसमें फोटो निकाला है, on the left hand side of your screen, right? So this entire space, now this basically the house that we had been called for, this was in Kandivali. So this is basically like a quarters. क्वार्टर मतलब ये एक एमटीएनएल क्वार्टर है वहां पे. सो ये वहां का फोटो है. तो ये जिन्होंने क्लाइंट ने हमको बुलाया था, ही वर्क्स और ही यूज्ड टू वर्क बैक देन इन एमटीएनएल. सो that was allocated to his family. So he used to stay there with his sister. So सिर्फ एक भाई और उसकी जो बहन है, both of them used to stay in the quarters. And what they said was when they moved in this particular location for the first time, ठीक है, ये जो आप पीछे वॉल देख रहे हो जो ब्लू कलर है, that entire wall was covered in oil stains. जो तेल होता है, आपको अगर आपके घर पे दिया जलता है, तो अगर आपको पता है घर पे अगर आप तेल वाला दिया जब जलाते हो, तो उसमें से जो धुआं निकलता है, राइट, बार बार जब वो वॉल को टच करता है, एक थोड़ा वो वॉल काला पड़ जाता है. तो ये जो कमरा था, दिस एंटायर रूम वाज कवर्ड इन ऑयल स्टेन्स. बहुत ही खराब हालत था. सो लोगों को बेसिकली पता नहीं था कि ये क्यों हो रहा है एंड यहाँ पे क्या हुआ है. सो उनको तो क्वार्टर्स था, तो उनको तो सिर्फ वहां पे रहना था, तो वो जाके वहां पे रहने लगे. ठीक है, बट जब वो वहां पे रहने लगे, ठीक है, नाउ दे गॉट दिस एंटायर हाउस पेंटेड. इसलिए आप अभी अच्छा सा उसको ब्लू कलर देख सकते हो वॉल पे. और राइट हैंड साइड पे वो फोटो अभी तक कवर नहीं हुआ है हमारा, लेकिन ये पर्टिकुलर रूम में एक कबर्ड है. उस कबर्ड पे हमने अपनी आंखों से अभी भी वो जो ऑयल के स्टेन्स उस वक्त थे, वो अभी भी यहाँ पे मौजूद है इस घर में. ठीक है, सो उनका ये मानना था कि यहाँ पे जो लोग पहले रहते थे, हो सकता है उन्होंने किसी तरह का कोई क्रिया यहाँ पे की थी, या पता नहीं उन्होंने कोई पूजा यहाँ पे रखी थी जिसमें उन्होंने किसी चीज को अपने घर पे बुला लिया, या जो भी वो उनका मानना है. ठीक है, अब मैं जो हमारा एक्सपीरियंस है वहां पे हमने क्या देखा, क्या चीजें हमने एक्सपीरियंस की, वो मैं आपसे शेयर कर रहा हूँ. तो पहले जब हम लोग यहाँ पे गए, राइट, सो इट वाज द 4 ऑफ अस जो आप फोटो में देख सकते हो. ठीक है, ऑल द 4 आर मेंबर्स ऑफ आईपीएस फ्रॉम मुंबई, एक्सेप्ट आई थिंक वन ऑफ द लेडी ऑन द लेफ्ट दैट यू सी, जो सबसे ज्यादा लेफ्ट साइड पे खड़ी है, जो राइट साइड पे जो आप देख सकते हो, शी इज नॉट अ पार्ट ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर टीम राइट नाउ. ठीक है, बट द रेस्ट ऑफ द 3 ऑफ अस आर. ओके, सो वहां पे जब हमने इन्वेस्टिगेशन शुरू किया, सो अगर आपको याद है, फेज 2 था प्रिलिमिनरी इन्वेस्टिगेशन. ठीक है, फेज 1 हमने कर लिया था, जहां पे हमने क्लाइंट से बात की और हमको समझ में आया कि व्हाट इज द क्लाइंट एक्सपीरियंसिंग हियर। फेज 2 वाज प्रिलिमिनरी। तो जब हम लोग प्रिलिमिनरी इन्वेस्टिगेशन कर रहे थे, ठीक है, तो उस टाइम पे ऐसा एक इंसिडेंट हुआ मेरे साथ, जहाँ पे मैं K2 मीटर लेके वॉक कर रहा था उस पर्टिकुलर लोकेशन पे, और क्लाइंट ने मुझे बताया कि एक पर्टिकुलर लोकेशन है उनके घर पे, वो मैं आपको आगे भी बताऊंगा। तो उस लोकेशन पे बहुत ज्यादा उनको एक्सपीरियंसेस हो चुके। उनको ऐसा लगता है कि उस लोकेशन पे कोई रात को कोई फीमेल उनको दिखती है या ऐसे कुछ चीजें वो मुझे बोलने लगे। सो जब मैं अपना मीटर लेके वॉक कर रहा था, तो मुझे ऐसा लगा कि एक पर्टिकुलर लोकेशन पे बहुत हाई ईएमएफ था वहां पे, राइट? वहां पे ईएमएफ बहुत ज्यादा हाई था, एंड सडनली काइंड ऑफ मतलब आउट ऑफ नोवेयर लाइक हर एक चीज नॉर्मल चल रहा था। हमने सारी इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, घर की जितनी भी कनेक्शंस है उसको सब बंद किया, और उसके बाद हमने एक जस्ट हम लोग को लेना था कि इस पर्टिकुलर रूम में कितना ज्यादा ईएमएफ प्रेजेंट है। एंड आउट ऑफ नोवेयर जैसे ही आई थिंक किसी ने बोला कि अगर यहाँ पे कोई है, क्या आप हमारे सामने आके खड़े हो सकते हो? सो वी यूजुअली यूज दिस काइंड ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन, या दिस काइंड ऑफ दीज आर थिंग्स दैट वी डू व्हेन वी आर डूइंग एन इन्वेस्टिगेशन। सो हमने ऐसे ही पूछा कोई है यहाँ पे जो हमारे सामने आके खड़ा हो सकता है, और जैसे ही ये चीज बोली गई, इस कमरे का जो ईएमएफ फ्लक्चुएशन है, या जो भी दिस एंटायर जोन का जो फ्लक्चुएशन है, वो काफी ज्यादा बढ़ गया, और वो इतना हाई हो गया कि वो हमारे ईएमएफ मीटर पे वो डिटेक्ट होने लगा। ठीक है, तो ये तो हुआ एक प्रिलिमिनरी इन्वेस्टिगेशन के टाइम पर हमारे साथ ये एक्सपीरियंस हुआ। बट जैसे जैसे हम आगे बढ़ते गए, हमने कुछ पिक्चर्स क्लिक किए। सो जो राइट साइड पे आप देख सकते हो, ये सिर्फ एक कमरे का फोटो है। इस कमरे के बाहर अगर आप देख सकते हो, वहां पे आपको 2 लाइट दिख रही होंगी। ठीक है, अगर मैं आपको ये वाले जो यहाँ पे आप जो लाइट्स देख सकते हो, ये बेसिकली हम लोग के, आई थिंक मैं ही था वो जो बाहर की तरफ से अपना ईएमएफ मीटर लेके वहां पे घूम रहा था। ठीक है, क्योंकि मुझे देखना था कि यहाँ पे कोई और ऐसे हम लोग को कोई मतलब कोई ईएमएफ फ्लक्चुएशन या ऐसे कोई चीज हम लोग कैप्चर कर सकते हैं या नहीं। तो उसलिए आई वाज जस्ट काइंड ऑफ ट्राइंग टू सी इफ आई कैन गेट समथिंग। ठीक है, बट ऑन द डे ऑफ द इन्वेस्टिगेशन, जो मेन आपका जो फेज 3 में आपने देखा होगा जो मेन इन्वेस्टिगेशन होते हैं, राइट, उस टाइम पे हमें कुछ एविडेंस मिले, वो मैं आपको अभी प्रेजेंट करके दिखाऊंगा। तो आई वांट एवरीबॉडी टू बी वेरी टू बी वेरी ऑब्जर्वेंट एंड सी व्हाट यू गाइस सी। ठीक है, आर यू ऑल रेडी टू सी व्हाट वी कैप्चर्ड हियर? एंड देन आई विल गिव यू सम कॉन्टेक्स्ट कि व्हाट वी थिंक हैपेंड। ठीक है, ओके, जस्ट गिव मी 1 सेकंड। Okay, guys, I think Meghna has to leave the session for now. So I think she's. I
Sorry,
think Meghna.
guys, I have to step out. I have to leave the meeting right now. I'm so sorry about this. My baby is just woken up, so I have to go and tend to her now. So thank you so much, everyone, for being there. Siddharth will take you through to whatever evidence we've captured at this place, and I hope you are excited for this. Thank you so much, Suhani, as well. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you all soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, guys, can you see my screen right now? Is it? Acha, you guys can only see the this thing, na? ठीक है, 1 मिनट दे दो। Okay, let me share the photos directly with you guys. ठीक है, सो ये एक उनके घर का जो बेडरूम है, उसके बाहर देयर वाज दिस पर्टिकुलर व्हाट यू कैन कॉल इट एज लाइक अ स्मॉल बालकनी काइंड ऑफ अ स्पेस। ठीक है, जो आपको अभी स्क्रीन पे दिख जाएगा। Okay, so this was like a balcony space जहाँ पे the client used to claim, or the client claimed that ये जो पर्टिकुलर बालकनी है, यहाँ पे उनको सबसे ज्यादा एक्सपीरियंस होता है एक्टिविटी। ठीक है, they seem to have seen somebody walk in this balcony. Now mind you, this particular space is on the first floor. ठीक है, ये जो पूरा बालकनी है, उनका जो पूरा घर है, यहाँ पे जैसे मुंबई में आप देखते हो रेसिडेंशियल फ्लैट्स होते, लाइक इन अ बिल्डिंग देयर कुड बी लाइक अराउंड से 15-20 फ्लैट्स, ऐसे 3 फ्लोर का बिल्डिंग हो सकता है, 4 फ्लोर का। So this was a quite big tall building, and this particular floor that we are investigating, this is on the first floor. So ये जो बालकनी आप बाहर स्पेस देख रहे हो, ये फर्स्ट फ्लोर पे। ठीक है, so nobody can climb and come there. ऐसा पॉसिबल नहीं है, because they have security guards and all of that. ठीक है, now they used to say कि अंदर से उनको लगता था कि बालकनी के बाहर somebody is walking. ठीक है, so I'm just showing you a picture of how the balcony looks. ठीक है. Now when we were investigating that particular space, ठीक है, let me see if I can change it. एक मिनट. Okay, so when we were investigating that particular space, we got a few, EMF spikes there, and we actually have like a small video where you can see that there's a very strong influx of EMF happening there. That was basically when I was kind of roaming around with my K2 meter. उस टाइम मैंने ये कैप्चर किया, तो मैं आपको वही शेयर कर रहा हूँ. Acha, can you guys see the video? I think the video is visible now, right? Okay, this is from the same location, in the same balcony. You see kind of my hand there. Okay, and you may be able to see that there are certain what do you call it, like EMF fluctuations happening. Wherein आप देख रहे हो येलो लाइट तक जा रहा है, समटाइम्स आप देखोगे रेड तक जा रहा है, एंड इट इज ओनली स्पेसिफिकली इन दैट एरिया जहां पे ये बालकनी का जो एंड है वो लोकेटेड है. नाउ दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर यू गाइस टू सी, बिकॉज नेक्स्ट जो मैं आपको एविडेंस दिखाऊंगा, ठीक है, नेक्स्ट जो मैं आपको एविडेंस दिखाऊंगा वो इसी स्पेस में हमने डॉक्यूमेंट किया था, बिकॉज दिस वाज लाइक वन ऑफ द मोस्ट आई थिंक एक्टिव स्पेसेस हियर. नाउ व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू डू हियर इज आई एम ट्राइंग टू टेक माय ईएमएफ डाउन. ईएमएफ मीटर जो है मैं नीचे से लेके ऊपर तक मेजर कर रहा हूं, ताकि आई एम वेरी श्योर कि वहां पे कोई इलेक्ट्रिकल कोई वायरिंग या कुछ ऐसा ना हो, ठीक है. बट इफ यू सी ओनली वन स्पेसिफिक एरिया में इन दैट बालकनी इज वेयर द ईएमएफ इज द हाईएस्ट. नीचे अगर आप लेके जाओगे तो वहां पे बिल्कुल कोई ईएमएफ नहीं था, सिर्फ इतने से हाइट पे स्पेसिफिकली देयर वाज अ लॉट ऑफ ईएमएफ दैट वाज बीइंग रिकॉर्डेड. ठीक है, यहाँ पे भी ईएमएफ कम है, ये आप देख सकते हो. स्पेसिफिकली जो बीच वाला पार्ट था वहां पे द ईएमएफ वाज वेरी हाई फॉर सम रीजन. ठीक है, नाउ आई काइंड ऑफ अज्यूम्ड कि हो सकता है कि वहां पे आसपास कोई इलेक्ट्रिकल पोल हो या कोई वायर हो, बिकॉज ऑफ विच आई एम काइंड ऑफ गेटिंग दिस पर्टिकुलर रिस्पॉन्स. आई डिडंट नो व्हाट वाज देयर, बट when kind of when I was doing this, Meghna was clicking pictures. ठीक है, she was clicking a lot of pictures there just to cover me doing this investigation. So later when what we documented was something that was a little surprising. ठीक है, okay, is this visible? Can you guys see this on your screen? ठीक है, now I know it is a little hazy है, बहुत ज्यादा HD नहीं है, क्लियर नहीं है, but can you all see something here? I don't know, मतलब this can be anything. I'm not saying ये कोई भूत है या कुछ ऐसा है, but can you guys, if you focus a lot on the part that is circled, kind of a shadow, kind of, okay, ignore this part. Okay, ये जो पीछे का थोड़ा पार्ट है, ये वाला जो पार्ट है ना ऊपर का, this is basically जो उसके पीछे का बिल्डिंग. I want you all to focus on this particular thing right from here till here. Can you see the feet or someone like standing here with a white gown, shadow of a small girl? Yes, there is something. Baby girl. Okay, looks like Dora. Yes. Again, we don't know what this was, and we didn't know that this we had caught at this time. अगर आपको याद है वो जो EMF मीटर में घुमा रहा था, मैं इसी हाइट पे मुझे सबसे ज्यादा EMF मिल रहा था. I don't know if this is a coincidence. I don't know कि ये क्या है. ठीक है, I don't know. Again, I'm not saying कि ये भूत ही मैंने पकड़ा है, इसे आपको शेयर कर रहा हूँ आपके साथ. Is this a full bodied apparition? I don't know. We'll see. आगे जाके मैं आपको बताऊंगा कि ये क्या हो सकता है. नहीं, I didn't get any EMF fluctuation down on the floor, but exactly where you see like the head part of it. So यहाँ पे मुझे बहुत ज्यादा EMF fluctuations आया मेरे K2 मीटर पे. अगर आप लास्ट वीडियो में आपने देखा होगा, वो यहाँ से लेके अराउंड समवेयर टिल हियर, और इसके ऊपर भी मुझे कुछ नहीं आया, इसके यहाँ पे नीचे भी कुछ नहीं आया. ये पार्ट में आई डोंट नो, समवेयर I got a lot of EMF fluctuations. Okay, now I'll show you one more photo that Meghna clicked of the exact same location, but in that frame you will see me also. ठीक है, आप मुझे भी देख पाओगे उस फ्रेम में. अच्छा, this is how the balcony looks, right? यहाँ पे देखो क्लियर है. यहाँ पे सेम कैमरा में सेम फोटो में यहाँ पे हम लोग को कुछ नहीं मिला. That was just one photo where we kind of saw that particular whatever you call it, the anomaly. ठीक है, यही वो ओरिजिनल फोटो है. सो दिस इज द ओरिजिनल फोटो विदाउट एनी काइंड ऑफ इफेक्ट्स एडेड. सो यहाँ पे भी अगर आप देखोगे ध्यान से, दिस इज व्हाट यू वर सीइंग. ठीक है, वो जो ग्रीन लाइट आपने देखा, वी एडेड अ लिटिल नेगेटिव इफेक्ट टू इट सो दैट यू गाइस कैन सी इट अ लिटिल मोर क्लियर. ठीक है, सेम फोटो, दिस इज द सेम फोटो. इसका अगर आप बिफोर देखोगे ऐसा था, एंड आफ्टर वन मोर फोटो दैट मेघना क्लिक, उसमें ये आया. दिस इज ओनली देयर इन वन फोटो. ठीक है, उसके अलावा आगे पीछे कोई भी फोटोज में वो नहीं है. ठीक है, ओके. एंड देन समथिंग दैट शी कॉट व्हिच काइंड ऑफ इट्स द एग्जैक्ट सेम फोटो, एग्जैक्ट सेम पोजीशन जो उसने कैप्चर किया. यहाँ पे ओनली थिंग इज यू सी मी ऑन द स्क्रीन, बट दिस वाज कैप्चर्ड ऑन अ डिफरेंट कैमरा. वो लास्ट फोटो जो आपने देखा, दैट वाज कैप्चर्ड ऑन अ फुल स्पेक्ट्रम कैमरा. ठीक है, जो सिर्फ अंधेरे में देख सकते. ये जो फोटो उन्होंने डॉक्यूमेंट किया था, दिस वाज ऑन अ नॉर्मल जो डिजिटल कैमरा आता है सोनी का, उस पे उन्होंने कैप्चर किया था. सो आई डोंट नो, अगेन ये भी काफी, बिकॉज इट वाज कैप्चर्ड इन कंप्लीट डार्क, अंधेरे में उन्होंने ये डॉक्यूमेंट किया था. सो लाइट का सोर्स कम था. इट वाज कैप्चर्ड यूजिंग द कैमराज फ्लैश लाइट. ठीक है, अगेन आई फर्स्ट इनिशियली थॉट मे बी ये कोई ग्लिच है या कुछ है, बट इसके भी जितने उन्होंने वेरिएशन ऑफ फोटो की थे, सिर्फ एक में ये डॉक्यूमेंट हुआ है. सो शी हैड टू कैमराज साइमल्टेनियसली. एक तो उन्होंने स्टैंड पे लगा के शी वाज क्लिकिंग ऑन विद द फुल स्पेक्ट्रम कैमरा, एंड सेकंड शी क्लिक्ड विद द डिजिटल कैमरा ऑफ द सेम लोकेशन. सो I don't know how this is kind of, is this a coincidence, is this a camera glitch, is this whatever that is here. ठीक है, if you want me to zoom out, I can zoom out and also show you. ठीक है, here you see me standing, this is me. ठीक है, and this is the exact same area जहाँ पे EMF high भी आ रहा था, और exact same area जो full spectrum camera में we saw that particular anomaly. ठीक है, so again we showed this picture to our founder, Mr. Gaurav Tiwari. He kind of says that probably there was something there, but had we spent more time clicking more pictures, probably we would have got it. ठीक है, but अभी होता क्या है कि in the entire night you might have clicked say around 50 to 100 pictures, and if you see this only in one or two pictures, that is what is a little alarming. So combining this with the client का experience, जो भी उन्होंने हम लोग को बोला कि इस बालकनी पे उनको बहुत ज्यादा एक्टिविटी फील होता है, एंड देन the full spectrum picture that Meghna clicked, this picture that she clicked, उसके अलावा प्रिलिमिनरी में जो हमारे साथ एक्सपीरियंस हुआ था, we feel there was some history to this place. ठीक है, now what they claim was, जो यहाँ पे पहले रहते थे, ठीक है, the person who used to stay here before, she was someone who was very very secretive. Like उनके नेबर से भी ये मालूम पड़ा कि वो जो ओनर थी, शी नेवर यूज्ड टू गो आउटसाइड द हाउस. मतलब रेयरली आप उनको देखोगे कि वो कहाँ बाहर जा रही है या कुछ, एंड दे यूज्ड टू ऑलवेज बी इनसाइड. सो ऐसा वो जो करंट ओनर है, उनका ये मानना है कि वो जो पास्ट प्रीवियस ओनर जो था, उन्होंने ऐसा कुछ शायद किसी तरह का व्हाट कैन यू कॉल इट, किसी तरह का कोई पूजा या ऐसा कुछ कराया जिससे, I don't know, they did something to this house is what the owners believe. ठीक है, I don't have evidence to prove कि वहां पे सच में कुछ हुआ था. It is only that the only thing we see here was there was a lot of oil stains, और पूरा वो जो रूम था, वो जो बेडरूम था जो मैंने आपको दिखाया, जो ब्लू कलर का वॉल था, that entirely was covered in oil stains. और वो जो कबर्ड जो मैंने बोला आपको, जो मैंने रियल लाइफ में देखा कि उस पे भी अब तक वो ऑयल स्टेन्स थे जो प्रीवियस ओनर ने छोड़ा था. सो वो ऐसा क्या कर रहे थे कमरे में, वी डोंट नो. What was he trying to do? Was he doing some kind of जादू टोना, whatever you call it? We don't know. But हाँ, अगर मैं अपने एक्सपीरियंस से बात करूँ तो ये चीज वहां पे हुई थी, और यहाँ पे हमने डॉक्यूमेंट की. Let me see if there is anything more. No. So these were some things that kind of we had to show you. as an evidence. ठीक है? I see a lot of comments. Maybe they have done to get rid of the entity. Okay. Acha, somebody asked me, is this like a full body apparition? You may call it as a full body apparition. We don't know. A full body is basically where you can see the entire body. Okay, I would still call it like a partial apparition if I had to. But usually हम लोग इसको anomaly बोलते हैं. Anomaly is something that you cannot explain. अब बहुत बार ये भी होता है कि ऐसे सारे फोटोज में there is this entire trick. अभी अगर आपने क्लाउड को देखा, when you see a cloud, ठीक है, उस क्लाउड में आप डिफरेंट शेप्स देखते हो. ठीक है, देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड एज पैराडोलिया, जहां पे आपको वो चीज को देख के योर माइंड ट्राइज टू क्रिएट दिस इमेज. ठीक है, तो हमको ये भी स्टार्टिंग में लगा कि हो सकता है कि ये पैराडोलिया हो, बट देन देयर वर टू मेनी एविडेंसेस टू प्रूव कि मे बी दिस इज नॉट पैराडोलिया, मे बी दिस इज समथिंग दैट वाज जेन्युइनली देयर. वी डोंट नो व्हाट. सो फॉर मी इससे ज्यादा मेरे को कंपेलिंग ये वाला चीज लगा, because here you actually see like this kind of thing, this whatever this is, this kind of brown kind of thing forming here. I don't know how this could come here and what is the particular logic. ये तो नीचे का चलो मैं मान सकता हूँ कि ये कुछ और होगा, but what is this thing, right? And this is not my hand, oh, just so you know, मेरा हाथ जो है वो इस तरफ है. ठीक है, this is not my hand in the frame. ठीक है, I am holding a EMF meter and I'm facing that side. This is basically on the right hand side of me. Okay. Did the owners leave the house or stay on? I believe the owners stayed in the house. They continued. So इसके बाद हमने the next part of the story is we actually did a cleansing there. जो आपको मेघना ने बताया था, हम लोग cleansing कर दिए. So the owners को जब हम लोग ने ये फोटो दिखाया, they kind of were a little scared. Of course they were scared. इसके अलावा उन्होंने बहुत सारी चीजें इस घर में देखी है. ठीक है, the things that we didn't document on camera, but there were a lot of things happening where the owner said they felt somebody pushed them, या रात को उनको ऐसा लगता था कोई उनको टच कर रहा है उनके बैक पे, ये सब. तो स्टार्टिंग में हमको लगा कि प्रोबेबली हो सकता है वो सिर्फ इमेजिन कर रहे हो, बट जब हम लोग को ये एविडेंस कुछ मिले तब हमने काइंड ऑफ ओनर को बताया कि देखो ये सब मिला है. वी आर नॉट सेइंग दैट दिस इज लाइक अ घोस्ट काइंड ऑफ अ थिंग, बट हाँ ये कुछ चीजें जो which we didn't have an explanation on. ठीक है, so kind of then the owners asked us what can we do, can you all do a cleansing here? So we said ठीक है. So what I did was, because I know the owner believed in a lot of मतलब उनका एक बिलीफ था भगवान पे, ये सब चीजें. तो I think the technique that I used was जैसे बुद्धिस्ट क्लीनिंग बोल होता है, if you all have seen, जो मैंने पीपीटी में भी डाला था. So वैसा बोल को हमने रिंग करके भी try to kind of do like a sound healing. ठीक है, तो हमने साउंड हीलिंग किया. लेटर ऑन आई थिंक आफ्टर अ मंथ वी कॉल्ड द क्लाइंट्स एंड वी आस्क्ड देम इफ दिस हैज सॉर्टेड, एंड ही सेड हाँ अभी इतना तो डर नहीं लगता जितना पहले लगता था. सो वी एक्चुअली हैड टू डू अ प्रॉपर काउंसलिंग सेशन फॉर द क्लाइंट्स सो दैट उनका जो माइंडसेट है, बिकॉज समटाइम्स क्या होता है कि इवन इफ देयर इज नथिंग देयर, आफ्टर यू गेट एन एविडेंस द क्लाइंट्स विल स्टिल वांट टू बिलीव कि यहाँ पे कुछ है. ऑब्वियसली ह्यूमन नेचर है, आपको डर तो लगेगा अगर ये सब एविडेंस आपके सामने रखेंगे तो. सो उनको वो डर कंटिन्यूसली था, तो हमने कोशिश किया कि उस डर को हम लोग उसको दूर करें. सो वी डिड अ लॉट ऑफ काउंसलिंग वर्क दैट इज इन्वॉल्वड. ठीक है गाइस, आई विल कम टू योर क्वेश्चन. आई जस्ट वांटेड वन लास्ट थिंग. ठीक है, एक लास्ट मेरा था, लेट मी कवर दैट एंड देन विल क्विकली जंप ऑन टू योर क्वेश्चंस दैट यू हैव. ओके, वेयर इज दिस? हाँ, okay, so this was a little more context for you, a little more kind of deep dive into what all things that we do and what all things that we have. Okay, so this is what I showed you. So basically this was the case that I wanted to present. ठीक है, ये जो केस में क्या क्या हुआ था वो मुझे प्रेजेंट करना था. एंड द सेकंड पार्ट was the evidence, जो मैंने आपको ऑलरेडी बता दिया, एविडेंस एनालिसिस. तो इसके अलावा एक दो और यहाँ पे एविडेंस मिले थे, बट they were not as significant as the photos that I showed you. ठीक है, and yes, sorry, हाँ, so this was the last part of the particular topic that I had for me, which was the discussion and the evidence analysis. Okay, so I think there are a lot of questions in the chat box. So let me see from the start. Okay, sorry, Rajeshri, do you want to? Can we start with the Q&A? Or
Yeah, sure, Siddharth. We can start with the Q&A, I think. So,
ठीक है.
जिसका जो भी doubt है, you guys can please raise your hand and then we can take your questions. अगर आपको questions पूछना है, then please, yeah, Singh Prajwal, please open your mic and ask your question if you're comfortable. You can turn on your video as well.
I think some of them are also typing it in the chat box.
Yeah, I think so. Suman Pujari, आपको पूछना है तो आप पूछ सकते हैं. You can turn on your video and audio, you can ask. नहीं तो हम messages से ही questions ले लेंगे.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Sankalp has, yeah.
Yes, Sankalp.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can ask.
yeah. My question is, I just want to understand what is the exact purpose of today's webinar? Is it like we want to prove that these things avail, or we agree these things avail, and we are working on how we can get identified?
Okay. So the entire kind of motive for why we did this webinar was, one is obviously not to prove. My end result always is that it's your own journey. मैं इससे ज़्यादा भी अगर आपको evidence दिखाऊंगा to make you believe, still जो believe करने का जो entire responsibility है, right? That is up to the viewers कि उनको क्या लगता है. This was just to make the people more aware about these things and also to show कि ये कैसा काम होता है. Because I've seen a lot of movies, the way they portray, right? You take anything, you take Conjuring, you take any Hollywood movie, any Bollywood movie जहाँ पे paranormal का theme है या horror का theme है. So the way they kind of show things, right? They create unrealistic expectation in the mind of people कि ये ऐसा ही होता है. मतलब भूत है तो आपको हवा में उठा के फेंकेगा, या भूत है तो आपको स्क्रैच करेगा या आपको हार्म करेगा ये. So the end logic is कि this field is very subtle, at the same time it is also exciting if you get something. नहीं तो majority cases में अगर मैं आपको बोलूं, more than 99% of cases that I have investigated, I have got nothing. So this is just one odd case. अगर मैं 50 केस उठाऊं, उसमें से एक या मैक्सिमम 2 केस में ऐसे हुआ होगा कि मुझे कुछ यहाँ पे मिला था, but which I could not explain for what exactly was that. So this was the end result, or this was the motive. I hope that answers.
Yeah, definitely. I got my answer. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Okay.
I think Suhani also has a question.
Yeah.
Yes, Suhani, you can ask your question.
Yeah, hi Siddharth and
Hi.
hi Fantastic. Hi everybody. Very good evening and thank you so very much, first of all, for this webinar. And this is, I think, the first time I could get a chance actually to interact with Team IPS. I have been following them religiously almost from a very long time. For that, my question to you is like I have a couple of things according to the discussions that we've had today. What I wanted to ask is that first thing that the kind of cleansing that you guys do.
You cannot use that as a means to earn or anything, because the certificate will hold no value, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
field regulated nahi, it's like जैसे आज के time पे it's very cool for somebody to call themselves life coach. Now I have done a master's degree in life coaching, but मेरे को पता है मैं कितना भी डिग्री अपना दिखा वो डिग्री का वैल्यू नहीं है, because it's not a regulated field, unlike say psychology हो या medical field. Medical is the most regulated field. अगर आपने MBBS किया तो people will call you doctor. लेकिन अगर आप घर बैठ के आपको नॉलेज है और आप कर रहे हो, यू कैन नॉट यूज द टर्म डॉक्टर. सो इट्स सेम एज दैट. तो सर्टिफिकेशन के लिए हाँ, तो यू कैन डू. सो वी आल्सो गिव ओरिएंटेशन सर्टिफिकेट्स. हम लोग का एक ओरिएंटेशन कोर्स है. बट अगेन दैट सर्टिफिकेशन डज नॉट मीन कि आप पैरानॉर्मल रिसर्चर हो. रिसर्चर इंसान अपने एक्सपीरियंस से बनता है.
हाँ भाई, एक्चुअली मेरे पास ना डाउजिंग का इक्विपमेंट है, एंशिएंट चाइनीज डाउजिंग का, and I have EVP recorder also. I've tried some sessions, but they didn't turn out to be successful.
So they will it will take time. Basically EVP भी अगर आप करते, so I am someone who's into EVP. So I took around, I think, 5-6 years of experience to get my first clear EVP. Because it तो depends on the location, कि आप किस location पे हो. Then depends on whatever the energy that you are interacting with. If it's that aware कि it knows कि आपको आके voice. For me, it's very easy to kind of get into a place and start doing anything, because अभी process मेरे को बायाट हो गया कि ऐसा करो, ऐसे techniques use करो,
experience हो गया.
So
आप कौन सा machine use करते हैं bro?
Now I have an Olympus voice. It's a very old company. बट आज के टाइम पे कोई भी आप यूज कर सकते, इवन योर मोबाइल फोन इज अ गुड ईवीपी रिकॉर्डर. या I have something like this.
Yeah.
I have something like this. But now I've seen Gaurav sir using, I don't remember the company, but something that they use for media. जिसपे आप boom mic लगा के आप you can actually use it as a recorder. So I've seen a very good kind of बड़ा सा उनका इतना बड़ा voice recorder था. But again, it's not the
TV
it's not the model.
में दिखाए थे.
Correct. It's not the model on which you can investigate. It's not the model that depends upon the quality of EVP. It's basically you as an investigator, and second the techniques that you're using. So अगर आप मुझे पुराना मतलब वो कैसेट रिकॉर्डर भी दोगे, I probably can try and see if I can capture EVPs on that or not. तो ऐसा नहीं, मतलब लोगों को लगता है महंगा इक्विपमेंट खरीदेंगे तो ही मिलेगा. So it's not that.
अच्छा, समझ. Bro, can I join? Like I want to do this. Join you people, and I'm very much interested
right
in the
now.
hobby.
Correct. So right now we are not enrolling members in the team. We get a lot of requests. I think in a day I get at least 5 to 10 messages on Instagram and 3 to 4 emails every day. But the point is right now, see, अगर मैं आपको ले भी लूँ मेरे टीम में, मैं बोलूँ भी आप चलो IPS के मेंबर हो, बट उतना काम नहीं है सामने करने के लिए. So it's almost like just हम लोग का टैग आपको मिलेगा, लेकिन अगर आपको काम करने नहीं मिलेगा, केसेस आपको मिलेंगे नहीं. After a year you will only come to me and say पॉइंट ही क्या है यहाँ पे रहने का. So what we usually do is, so again the nature of the work also depends on कि आपके पास कितना टाइम है दिन में इसको देने के लिए. Because when we get cases, we don't know which month of the year will we get cases. और कब में, because it can come at any given point of time, and then we have to actually kind of tell, or within the team हम लोग को वो time arrange करना पड़ता है mostly से weekends पे वगैरह, because all of us have full time jobs. So we are all occupied with the full time jobs वैसे. So वो टाइम निकाल के करना थोड़ा मुश्किल है, इसलिए हम लोग फुल टाइम नहीं करते. अब ये सेशन भी हमने सैटरडे रखा है. I don't know when the next session or anything will happen. So it depends वैसे.
वैसे तो मुझे बस मतलब सर्टिफिकेट लेना है. मुझे भी I want to be an investigator.
Certificate is only for your information and knowledge. That's
it. नाम के वास्ते मतलब learn more things and to.
Correct. So in theory will teach you a lot of things, but in practical experience, when you go to certain places and you do your investigation and you experience, so one thing you will be aware is कि इतना common नहीं है ये चीजें जितना in the Bollywood movies and all this show. थोड़ा hype है, थोड़ा नहीं बहुत ज्यादा hype है वैसे तो. So ये जो मैंने आपको आज दिखाया, this was like a case that was I think 9 years old. 9 साल पहले मैंने ये एक एविडेंस मिला, वो मैंने आपको आज दिखाया. वैसे मेरे पास गिन चुन के शायद और 2-3 केसेस के ही एविडेंस है. आई डोंट हैव अ लॉट, बिकॉज 11 साल में ऐसा हुआ ही नहीं है कि हम लोग ने हर एक केस में गए और हर एक केस में कुछ हमारे साथ हुआ. बहुत रहे. सो इट्स ऑल्सो अबाउट योर पेशेंस कि एज एन इन्वेस्टिगेटर आप जा रहे हो 6 घंटे आप एक लोकेशन पे यू आर डूइंग योर इन्वेस्टिगेशन और उसके बाद आपको कुछ मिलने रहे. सो अक्सर लोग वहां पे परेशान होकर फील्ड छोड़ देते, जाने दो ये फील्ड में कुछ रखा ही नहीं है, ऐसा करेगा. सो इट्स ऑल अबाउट योर पेशेंस.
Okay, nice. Someone has asked me, can I turn on my video? I actually met with an accident recently. I'm on bed rest, not in a good position to look. Yeah, cool. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, होते रहता है. Tomorrow is my last day of bed rest. Lucky.
Nice.
Thank you very much, Bhaiya.
So you're sitting on your bed along with your voice recorder also. So are you planning to investigate?
Half sitting, half sleeping.
Okay.
ये मतलब साथ में रख देता हूँ हमेशा.
ओके. क्या मालूम कब वैसे जरूरत पड़े अचानक खोल के क्या कोई है यहाँ पे जो मुझसे बात करना चाहिए. This is the most common, most Indian way of investigating, right?
कभी बोलोगे तो निकल
दो. So actually we want to break that monotony. एक तरह एक माइंडसेट बना लिया है लोगों ने कि जब भी ईवीपी कर रहे हो, क्या आप मेल हो क्या आप फीमेल हो, उसके आगे हम लोग बढ़ते ही नहीं.
बढ़ते नहीं.
ईवीपी भी जब कर रहे हैं, क्या आप हमें 3 बत्ती दे सकते हो. हम मैंने भी किया है. आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि आई एम वेरी एडवांस. मैंने भी वो किया. नाउ वी हैव टू चेंज दैट माइंडसेट. So west में when I see
or something like that.
when I see investigators in the west, they do so many मतलब innovations इतने सारे उनके techniques, because I have investigated with Rob Demarest also. He was basically, जो अगर आपने देखा होगा पहले के टाइम पे Ghost Hunters International करके एक शो आता था. So he was the lead of GHI, and the kind of equipments he had got, एक suitcase भर के उसके पास सिर्फ equipments था, and the techniques that he used. So he had different kind of dolls, different kind of, obviously उसका investment भी उतना था, मतलब the show gave him a lot of
thousands of dollars में रहता है वो equipment,
thousands of
India में
dollars of
mostly मिलता भी
equipment.
नहीं है.
And plus, secondly, in the West, the main advantage is they have a lot of locations जहाँ पे आप जाके experiment कर सकते हो. यहाँ पे एक लोकेशन का परमिशन निकालने बाप रे, मतलब आपका जान
पुलिस
निकल
वाले
जाएगा,
पीछे पड़
लेकिन
जाएंगे.
हाँ, लेकिन you won't get permissions.
Yeah,
So
it's very
that is
difficult to
one.
get permissions here.
So that is one major, I think, roadblock that anyone who wants to practice will face. You all will not get permissions to do here. ठीक है, so याद
Locations नहीं
रखो,
मिलेंगे, permissions
अगर
नहीं
आप
मिलेंगे.
trespass करोगे and if the police catches you trespassing, there can be a case registered against. ठीक है, so trespassing कभी नहीं करना है, permission लेके जाना है अगर जाना है तो भी, and but permission मिलना impossible है. So kind of you are stuck to watching me or other paranormal researchers on YouTube. Unfortunately आप हमारा podcast सुन के ही सीख सकते हो अभी, और क्या करें.
हाँ भाई, सही कुछ करने के लिए भी इतना encouragement नहीं है. फिर भी I actually want to try. So how do I get in touch with this course that you teach now, भैया?
हाँ, so you can just drop us an email, indianparanormalsociety.com, indianparanormalsociety@gmail. ये आपको मिल जाएगा.
Okay, भैया. Sure. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's it.
Thank you, Datta. So
Thank you very much.
I
Yes.
am getting a question in the comment section twice, thrice.
Uh-huh.
That is, what are your views on seance? And I personally also wanted to ask this. What's seance?
Seance.
Yeah, is it a way of cleansing or what is it?
नहीं. So seance is basically again this is a very Western kind of a thing. बाहर के जो लोग, it's a French word if I'm not wrong. So seance is where you sit in a group together and you try to channelize your energy into inviting something that is in the room to communicate with you. जैसे कि फॉर एग्जांपल बीच में एक टेबल है, एक राउंड टेबल है, और उस राउंड टेबल के पे से मान लो 6 चेयर्स है. So there are 6 people who are sitting at the on the chairs. Then they start holding their hands and they kind of channelize or try to kind of invite whatever is there to come and communicate with them. Now there have been ऐसे past में there have been certain experiences जहाँ पे people have witnessed that table moving or the chair shaking, या फिर they can hear something in the room and all of that. Have I personally done that? No, I have not personally experienced it. My views would be, I know it's a technique to communicate, but I don't know whether it is legit or not. जितना वो लोग movies में दिखाते, ज्यादा करके आप Hollywood movies में you'll see people doing that. But I have, in IPS at least, we have not tried doing a seance or anything. Same with the Ouija board thing also. जो लोग planchette खेलते Ouija board. So वो Ouija board is also, it was initially like a game that was invented, but I somehow it got kind of लोगों को ऐसा लगने लगा कि that is like a technique to communicate. But in my opinion, the chances of failure are much more than you actually getting any evidence on that.
Okay, like in my college days also, a few
Uh-huh.
friends have done it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody has done it. On YouTube, there are so many people who have gone to a graveyard and tried doing all of that thing. But to be very honest, I think I've tried it also myself. But I have not got any legit evidence to say that these things happen. So there is a concept called ideomotor effect. Ideomotor is basically where your the muscles in your hand, right? They start twitching after a certain time period. अगर आप हाथ अपना ऐसा रख रहे हो for a long period of time, after that आपको थोड़ा movements आपके दिखेंगे हाथ में. So that is because your muscles are getting tired and they are trying to signal you it's time to put your hand down. So वो जब twitching होता है उस केस में बहुत बार वो आपका planchette पे अगर आप देखोगे, the surface is very smooth. So your hand starts moving and people think that it is the spirit trying to move. So मैं ही आपको logical reason दे रहा हूँ इसका, what I believe.
One more question is there are some rumors in society that Gaurav sir died because of paranormal activity. Is it true? What's your opinion?
No, I don't think it's true. If it was true, then I don't think any researcher in India or outside would have been alive. So mystery क्या है इसका पूरा mystery क्या है? So when people use the term mystery, there is no mystery. There was a entire thing created by the media. I think a lot of news media channels and वो सब they started kind of एक किसी ने कुछ अगर comment किया रहेगा तो उसके ऊपर they added so many layers and started creating an entire mystery कि देखो ये भी हुआ, black mark है, ये है, वो है. So I think the best जो logical reasoning था that is what the police did. Where they kind of अगर आप if you want you can read it online of course. So उनका explanation was the best. So I don't think there was any spirit or ghost or anything involved as such. अगर होता तो obviously हम लोग सब कोई जिंदा नहीं रहते. Neither me nor Meghna because we have we were working with him only at the time. So
It was natural death.
yes.
Okay. And Yash is asking, how can we end a conversation which has been set up with an entity such that it don't follow us back? Can we actually have a conversation?
So when we use certain equipments and when we ask them, जो मैं अभी बोल रहा था, people usually ask 3 बत्ती दे दो, 2 बत्ती दे दो. So that is, it's like a conversation, but it is not very intelligent because you are only commanding it to do certain things. Intelligent would be where you are asking it more than what you know, right? Or maybe say, can you give me 2 or 3 knocks if you think that there is life after death? Something like that. I'm just trying to put out things. जहाँ पे आपको मालूम है कि आप एक ऐसा सवाल पूछ रहे हो जिसका आंसर आपके पास भी नहीं है जो वो आपको गाइड कर रहा है. That is like a very intelligent source. होता है, there are some cases where you get very very intelligent responses. Now what you do is at the end of the investigation, usually you make it very clear that you don't want to be followed or you are only here to help it. But as soon as the help is over, as soon as the sessions are over, you say that now you are free to leave and you don't have to follow me back. That is what I do. If I feel that there is some entity that can follow me back or anything. But to be very honest, it's नहीं होता. So you don't have to think a lot about these things.
Okay, since we talked about energies, where is it?
Okay. I think he's asking about can these energies manipulate psychologically, physiologically and into thinking what they...
psychologically into thinking the way they appear.
So usually there are certain cases where we have seen, जैसे Delhi में there was this case जहाँ पे there was this particular commercial space that was very haunted. Very haunted मतलब वहाँ पे अक्सर लोगों को कुछ experience होता था. So वो जो particular space के जो security guards थे, ठीक है, one of the guards unfortunately committed suicide. ठीक है. Now some people may say that वो जो suicide उन्होंने commit किया that was because of the energies or spirits and all of that. For me, what I usually feel is वो इतना डर गए थे because he saw some things there. He saw shadows and he could hear footsteps.
About this case, I think Gaurav sir has mentioned in his book also.
Yeah. So this was about there is a commercial space and all. So यहाँ पे ऐसे हुआ कि there were a few security guards that committed suicide, but I don't think the energy manipulated them into committing suicide. It was the people who were scared and who didn't know what else they can do, and they kind of took that step. So that is what I feel.
That actually wasn't my question. My question was, can an entity manipulate you in a certain way? That suppose, like I gave the example of the headless boy. Maybe the entity is not a headless boy. Maybe it is strong enough to manipulate us so that we can see it like a headless boy. We can perceive it like a headless boy.
ठीक है, वैसे तो that is basically you can say in a form that it is trying to manifest. उसको manifestation बोलते हैं. That when an entity wants to show its presence in a certain way and wants to make you believe that it is a person or it is a again, that is in theory, yes, it is possible. In reality, I have not personally experienced or seen something as drastic as a headless boy or anything. I've never in real life at least not seen that. Maximum whatever I have seen is in pictures, in videos that we have documented. और मे बी से ज्यादा करके आप देखोगे अगर वीडियोस में भी आप कैप्चर करते हो, इट इज मोस्टली लाइक अ ग्लोइंग बॉल, ऐसे ऑर्ब बोलते हैं उसको. सो यू सी दीज ग्लोइंग बॉल्स फ्लोटिंग अराउंड, दैट इज लाइक एन ऑर्ब. एंड इन फोटोज यू हैव ऑफ कोर्स आई शोड यू कैसे दिखता है वो. सो इट इज नॉट वेरी वेरी 100% एकदम क्लियर ऐसे नहीं है. ऑल्दो देयर आर अ फ्यू फोटोज दैट आई हैव which was very very clear, that was captured in Australia by Gaurav sir. So उसको भी हम लोग ने, let me see if I can pull out one photo and just to show you how it looks, but that is the most clear that I have seen. ठीक है, उससे clear तो मैंने नहीं देखा अभी तक.
There's a question to that. There's a book called Pseudomonarchia Demonium. Does it really exist?
I have never read. What does that mean? Is it like a book of demons or anything? I don't know. I have never read that book. Demon ka again, a lot of people ask me, do they have demons or do demons exist and all of that. I personally have never witnessed or seen any demon first hand. तो मैंने नहीं देखा है. Devil's Bible. Okay, so I don't know if there is something like a demon or a devil. For me, an energy is an energy. As simple as that. So we don't classify energies into कि ये इंसान का energy है, वो इंसान का. For me, an energy or a spirit is a spirit. That's it. You could not, मतलब decibels जो था of that voice was very low. So you have to really pay attention to hear what it is saying. But we have that video uploaded on our YouTube channel. I think it says something like I need help. या ऐसा कुछ तो एक था जहाँ पे there were multiple words like a sentence, proper sentence being recorded. Have you ever, your team witnessed real possession? नहीं. I don't think we have witnessed spiritual possession as such, not in my experience.
Naleva.
Yes, sorry. I gotta ask one last thing. What is your take on the movie Antram? No, I have not watched that movie personally. Antram, which is supposedly killed more than 50 people who watched the film. I don't know.
What about Naleva and things like this? There's a question.
What is it? What about?
Naleva.
What is Naleva?
I think some
I'm
kind
not
of
sure.
entity. I'm not sure of.
Acha, it's an entity.
Maybe.
Okay, so in India there are more than 1,000 entities, and
Yeah.
one entity per religion or per caste. So just like in Hindus we have Atma, and then you have various versions of it. Chudail, Dakini, I don't know how many. Pishachini. So वैसे अगर आप if you move towards Islam, they have jinn, jinnat, all this. Move towards Christianity, they have spirits and demons and all of this. So इससे ये आपको मालूम पड़ेगा कि हर एक religion में हर एक in every religion there is something that is mentioned about energies. लोगों ने नाम अलग दिए, काम वही है. बट सैडली बहुत सारे इसमें कैसे उसको नेगेटिवली पोर्ट्रे किए कि भूत है तो आपके पीछे ही पड़ेगा, आपको मारेगा ही, आपको. इवेंचुअली व्हाट यू हैव टू रियलाइज इज एट द एंड ऑफ द डे व्हेन if I pass away, right, there could be a high chance that my intelligence, ठीक है, या my consciousness can maybe survive in the universe and tomorrow may interact with some of you guys and try to say that hey, I am I can, this is what I've experienced after I die, I just want to share my experience. But लोग क्या करेंगे, अक्सर डर के भाग जाएंगे कि अरे भूत आया, भागो, ये घर, ये है, वो है. So sometimes what I feel is whatever these energies are, whatever this entity is, okay, whatever this intelligence is, it just wants to communicate. That's it. So it's not always there to take revenge या वो मारने को नहीं आते लोगों को.
Okay, Siddharth, do you believe कि if there is some negative energy, there is positive energy too? And if there is positive energy, how do you differentiate which one is negative, which one?
No, so that's what. So you cannot differentiate between energies, negative, positive, neutral. ऐसा नहीं होता. We usually see energy as an energy. अभी negative, positive is basically your what do you call it, perspective. ठीक है, your perspective. कोई चीज आपको अच्छी लगे, आप बोलेगे पॉजिटिव है. कोई चीज आपको बुरी लगे, बट आपको जो चीज नेगेटिव लग रहा है, हो सकता है किसी और के लिए वो पॉजिटिव हो. So you cannot say negative and positive energies. Again, I think this is one of the byproducts of the way movies have shown entities. ये बदला लेने आई है और ये पीछे पड़ जाएगी और ये मारेगी सबको. ऐसा नहीं होता. So you see energy as an energy, you call it your consciousness or your intelligence or whatever you want to call it, but that is just a way to address it. But there is no कि God is a positive energy and then all these booth and everything is negative. ऐसा नहीं है. There are no two extremes in paranormal.
Okay. You can't differentiate at all.
Because there is no, how will you do it? Equipment wise, there is no equipment that will sign and show you, are you come near a positive energy, you come near a negative energy. ऐसा नहीं है.
And there's a question: do which converse with devils?
Sorry? Do which converse? I don't know. I have neither seen a witch nor seen a devil, so I don't know.
Okay.
Interesting question is, do you still get scared after 11 years of experience? Now that depends on. Sometimes I'm scared for the location because कभी कभार ऐसे ऐसे लोकेशन हम लोग को आ जाते हैं which are very abandoned या वहाँ पे कोई रह नहीं रहा है, तो मेरा हमेशा डर ये रहता है, especially public locations. So there has been a case जहाँ पे we were going to investigate Lambi Dehar mines. Lambi Dehar is a place in Missouri. So it's a in a very isolated place and it's located on the top of a hill. Missouri आपको पता होगा. It's an entire hilly area. So वहाँ पे जो माइंस का जो एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव ऑफिस है, हम लोग उसके अंदर गए थे. इट्स कम्प्लीटली अबैंडन्ड एंड देन वी काइंड ऑफ सॉ आई थिंक 4-5 people who were already inside. They were doing all this drinking and all of that. So उस टाइम थोड़ा डर लगता है because you don't know what to expect from. They can actually attack you. तो अक्सर हम लोगों को इसलिए बोलते कि ये सब चीजें अगर आपको जगह पता हो तो ही जाओ. If you don't know, don't enter locations that you are not aware of. Have you watched Bhuta Kolam? No, I have not. Real life में I have not. I have seen it in videos, but real life में तो मैंने नहीं देखा अभी तक. I would love to, कोई अगर मौका मिले तो. While investigating a location, what scares you the most? Of course, I have told you. One is, of course, people who may not be very, very social, and animals also, yes. एनिमल्स का भी डर रहता है. स्पेशली भानगढ़ में अगर आप जाओगे तो यू विल सी अ लॉट ऑफ लंगूर मंकीज जो बहुत बड़े बड़े होते हैं. सो उनके साथ छेड़खानी करोगे तो डेफिनेटली दे कैन हार्म यू. सो बहुत डर होता है उनका. Suhani says, have you gotten a chance to investigate Bhangarh? I have investigated Bhangarh with Gaurav sir, but after Gaurav sir, I don't think we visited. There were other teams who visited there. But so Gaurav sir has already busted the myth of Bhangarh long back. I'm talking about in 2012. Then we investigated that location in 2016. So I was there with Gaurav sir. But after he passed away, I don't think... at least team IPS has not been there. I've seen other teams visiting that location. Now some teams still claim that they have experienced things, but हम लोग को actually वहाँ पे कुछ भी मतलब ऐसे we didn't get any concrete evidence to say that place is haunted. So for us it still stands not haunted. How do you know if a place, if there are ghosts present or not? That is basically via our equipment. तो जो भी हम लोग equipment use करते हैं, we kind of via that only we try to record our experience. जैसे अभी ये location पे हमने photos आपको दिखाए थे. So it could be photographic evidences that you have. It could be videos that you capture, stories of people who have experienced things there, and obviously your personal experience. तो ये सबको combine करके you create an experience ka documentation. Do you think it would be helpful if someone would investigate possession victims visiting dargahs or mandirs? So possession victims ka the thing is, first is you will have to understand if that possession is because of their own mental health. So अक्सर मैंने देखा है कि ये सब cases में mental health is very important. ठीक है. So आपको जैसे बहुत सारे केसेस में द विक्टिम्स डोंट रीच आउट टू अ मेंटल हेल्थ प्रैक्टिशनर और अ साइकियाट्रिस्ट जस्ट टू गेट एन इवैल्यूएशन डन. तो डायरेक्टली अगर आप मुझे बोलोगे कि यू नो मेरे घर पे कोई है जो पोजेस्ड है, I won't directly go and start investigating. I will ask them to get in touch with a psychiatrist and then get an evaluation done. और evaluation के बाद में हम लोग involve होते हैं. So we don't, and majority of the cases में हमने देखा है कि it is either bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, split personality या multiple personality disorder. ऐसे बहुत सारी चीजें होती है जो उनको शायद पता नहीं होगी, but yes, they can be one of the major contributors for why people act possessed. Using mobiles can capture photo or audio. Yes, you can use your mobile phones while investigating, but just ensure if you're using an EMF device. ठीक है, so EMF device अगर आप मोबाइल फोन्स के पास लेके जाओगे तो that is going to buzz. So you cannot use your mobile phones and EMF device together because your mobile phones will give out a lot of EMF. How can I contact you or connect with you? So for guys who want to stay in touch with me, you all can contact me on my email ID. So it is just indianparanormalsociety@gmail.com. इस पे हम लोग आपका सब जो भी query है we can answer that.
Can you please just type it in the chat box?
हाँ.
So that will be easier for them to just copy and text you.
Yes. अगर if you guys are interested in the books that I said, signed copies जो है, you all can actually drop an email here and we can see on how we can give you a signed copy.
Yeah, those who wanted the books, some people have texted me also over WhatsApp. You guys can simply drop a mail to this mail ID.
So we don't have a lot of books available. I think last event जो हम लोग ने रोटरा क्लब के साथ किया था, उसके बाद also हमारे 4-5 books उस सेशन में बिके थे, तो I think hardly कुछ 5 या 6 बचे रहेंगे. I am assuming. So if you are lucky enough, if you reach out early, तो आपको मिल सकता है.
जल्दी मेल करो भाई. Okay,
Is there any
Siddharth,
specific?
I think everybody has asked their questions and all. I think ये बहुत बढ़िया सेशन रहा and thank you so much. You gave lot of time, plenty of time I would say, and इतना expect नहीं किया था मैंने. And personally I have been fan of you. Like in the very first meeting I told you, I was very nervous also to talk to you guys because I'm really a very big fan. Being said that, thank you so much Siddharth, and please convey the thanks a lot, our gratitude to Meghna as well.
Sure.
And we planned कि हम मिलके थोड़ा वो करेंगे rapid fire, but she went early and
Yes.
it's fine. मैंने सोचा था कि शायद टाइम नहीं होगा, you won't be able to give so much of time, हमें शायद दूसरा सेशन लेना पड़ेगा जिस हिसाब से क्वेश्चंस आ रहे थे, but you were there and you attended all the questions. Thank you so much for that. और जैसे मेघना ने explain किया step by step the paranormal research का जो भी steps है, I really liked it and I hope सबने like किया होगा. And I'm yet to see the feedback form and I'll definitely share with you as well.
Sure. So somebody in the chat said, "Thank you, invisible person." So did you see somebody behind me or what? I don't know कहाँ पे आप लोगों को invisible person दिखा, but ठीक है. Okay, guys, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Siddharth. Thanks a lot.
Okay, so can we? Thank you.
Yeah, guys. So we are winding up.